Have you ever felt like you're drowning in your own thoughts? Like your mind is constantly running, filled with doubts, fears, regrets, and endless what-ifs? The human mind is a powerful tool, but when left unchecked, it can become our greatest enemy. In this chaotic world, mastering your thoughts and emotions isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. And today, we'll explore the ancient wisdom that can help us build an unshakable mind, a mind that remains calm even in the stormiest situations. Over 2,000 years ago, the great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, the last of the 5 good emperors of Rome, wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words weren't written for an audience, they were his personal reflections, his way of mastering his own mind amidst war, betrayal, and chaos. If an emperor burdened with the weight of an empire could find peace within, why can't we? Today, we're constantly bombarded by distractions, news, social media, expectations, and comparisons. Our minds are pulled in 1,000 directions, leaving us feeling drained and powerless. But what if we could regain control? What if we could train our minds to remain calm, focused, and unshaken, no matter what happens? The answer lies in ancient wisdom, practical strategies, and a shift in perspective. Let's begin. Most of our suffering comes from trying to control the uncontrollable, the opinions of others, the past, the future, external circumstances. But real power comes from controlling only what is within us, our thoughts, responses, and mindset. A long time ago, in a small village, there was a farmer whose only horse ran away. His neighbors pitied him, saying, "What bad luck." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it a group of wild horses. "How lucky you are," said the villagers. Again, the farmer said, "Maybe." The next week, his son fell and broke his leg while trying to train one of the wild horses. The villagers once again expressed sympathy. The farmer replied, "Maybe." Soon after, the army came to recruit young men for war but spared his son because of his injury. Now, the villagers saw his misfortune as a blessing. But the wise farmer only smiled and said, "Maybe." The lesson? Nothing is inherently good or bad. It's all about perspective. Imagine your mind as the sky. Your thoughts? They are just passing clouds. Some are light and gentle, others dark and heavy. But no matter how fierce the storm, the sky itself remains unchanged. We often believe that we are our thoughts, but in reality, we are simply the observers. Instead of fighting negative thoughts, let them pass, just like clouds in the sky. Example, the train of thought exercise. Imagine your thoughts as a train passing by. If you see a negative thought like, "I'm not good enough," recognize it, but don't get on that train. Simply watch it pass. By practicing this, you'll realize something powerful: you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. And that means you have the power to let go of negativity instead of letting it control you. Pain is inevitable. But suffering? That's optional. The way we frame our experiences determines their impact. 2 men were thrown into a dark prison cell. One man fell into despair, crying, "My life is over." The other smiled, saying, "Now, I finally have time to meditate." Same situation. Different mindset. The most resilient people don't avoid hardship, they use it as fuel for growth. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more unshakable. Most of our worries exist only in the mind. They are either regrets about the past or fears about the future. But true peace exists only in one place, the present moment. A powerful samurai once asked a Zen master for the secret to calmness. Instead of answering, the master silently prepared tea, pouring it with full attention. The samurai watched in awe as the master was completely present in each movement. That moment changed the samurai forever. The lesson? True mastery is found in the now. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you work, just work. The present moment is where your true power lies. So, how do you build an unshakable mind? How do you free yourself from the chains of negative thinking, fear, and self-doubt? The truth is, it all begins with awareness. The moment you realize that you are not your thoughts, that you are simply the observer, is the moment you gain true power. The world is full of distractions, full of voices telling you what you should be, what you should fear, what you should regret, but the greatest strength you can ever cultivate is the ability to remain centered despite it all. Think about it, every successful person, every wise sage, every master of the mind, from Marcus Aurelius to Buddha, from Viktor Frankl to modern-day thinkers, has discovered one simple truth: you control your mind, or it controls you. This is the foundation of self-mastery. Imagine a storm, wild, destructive, unpredictable. Most people live their entire lives being tossed around by this storm, reacting to every problem, every insult, every setback, as if they are powerless. But the one who masters their mind, they become like the eye of the storm, calm, focused, undisturbed, while the chaos of life continues around them. And this is not something you are simply born with, it is something you must train. To truly cultivate an unshakable mind, you must first accept that life will always be uncertain. There will be suffering. There will be failures. There will be losses. But suffering only gains power over you when you resist it, when you wish things were different instead of learning to adapt and respond with wisdom. Think of a mountain, standing tall and unshaken as the seasons change. The wind, the rain, the storms, they come and go, but the mountain remains. This is how you must train your mind. Instead of reacting impulsively to emotions, take a step back. Observe them. Question them. Why am I feeling this way? Is this thought helpful? Is this fear even real? Most of the things we fear never even happen, and even when they do, we survive. We move forward. The problem is, most people fight their emotions instead of learning to use them as tools. Anger, when understood, can become determination. Fear, when mastered, can become preparation. Sadness, when embraced, can become wisdom. Your emotions are not the enemy, your resistance to them is. And then there's the problem of external validation, the biggest trap of the modern world. We seek approval, likes, recognition, forgetting that none of these things can ever bring lasting peace. Why? Because the moment your happiness depends on something external, you've given away your power. What happens when you don't get the praise? What happens when you fail? This is why so many people feel empty. They have spent their lives building their self-worth on things outside of their control. But the one who has mastered their mind, they have built their foundation from within. They do not chase happiness. They do not seek approval. They do what is right, what is meaningful, what aligns with their values, regardless of what anyone else thinks. And that is true freedom. Now, let's talk about discipline, the backbone of mental strength. Every time you let your emotions control you, you weaken your own power. Every time you give in to distractions, you lose focus. Every time you react instead of responding, you give the world control over your mind. But when you train yourself to pause, to breathe, to step back and think before acting, you become a different person. A stronger person. A person who is not ruled by emotions, but guided by wisdom. And this does not mean you suppress your emotions. It means you master them. You acknowledge them, but you do not let them dictate your life. Think of the greatest warriors, the greatest leaders, the greatest thinkers in history. They all had one thing in common: they mastered themselves first, before trying to master the world. They trained their minds daily, just as a warrior trains with his sword. They practiced self-awareness, self-discipline, and resilience, because they knew that in the end, the greatest battle is always within. Will you be controlled by your impulses, or will you rise above them? Will you live your life reacting to the world, or will you shape your world with your own strength? This is what separates the weak from the strong, not talent, not luck, not intelligence, but the ability to master one's own mind. And remember, this is not an overnight transformation. Building an unshakable mind is like forging a sword. It takes heat, pressure, and time. You will face challenges. You will have setbacks. But each time you overcome them, each time you choose discipline over weakness, each time you rise above your emotions instead of being consumed by them, you become stronger. You become unstoppable. So, as you move forward in life, remind yourself, you are the master of your mind. You are not your thoughts. You are not your fears. You are not your failures. You are the observer, the warrior, the one who decides what power thoughts and emotions hold over you. And when you truly understand this, when you learn to stand still in the middle of life's storms, you will become unshakable. This is the path of true strength. This is the path of self-mastery. And this is the path of the unshakable mind. So, how do you build an unshakable mind? Let go of what you can't control. Detach from negative thoughts. Reframe pain into power. Live fully in the present moment. You are not your past. You are not your fears. You are the master of your mind. And when you truly understand this, when you learn to stand still in the middle of life's storms, you will become unstoppable. This is the path of true strength. This is the path of the unshakable mind.